Did take out a temporary order of protection against your husband in 2021. Were you in fear of your husband?
My husband is alive. That's all I can say.
We have been telling you about a surge of violence, dozens of murders, all tied to the notorious street gang MS-13.
Many of those killings happening in New York, Suffolk County, and Brian went out there to find out how the community is handling a situation that is quickly spinning out of control.
And by the way, Suffolk County, New York is under siege by MS-13 on Long Island. Maybe people think of Suffolk, they think of the Hamptons. This is not that. But now the parents of two of their victims are taking a stand, speaking out against the criminal element wreaking havoc in their working class community.
Why is it important for you to see this every day and this being your living room?
It's a reminder of being a good parent.
Nisa Mickens' MVP trophies still stand proudly in her parents' living room. Now, a memorial to a daughter murdered just before her 16th birthday. Last September, Mickens was walking with her best friend, 16-year-old Kayla Cuevas, when they were ambushed by MS-13 gang members. The reason? A disagreement on social media.
Whatever was going on between Kayla and them, it shouldn't have gotten this far.
It festered. It just festered, and I guess they made arrangements to put a hit on her, and my daughter's not going to leave her best friend.
MS-13 is believed to be responsible for 15 homicides in the last 16 months in Suffolk County, and at least 8 of the victims, high school students.
The thing happens after school, where there's no supervision at all, and that's what scares the kids, because usually I can sit here and I can see the kids get off the bus and run home. They used to walk home. Now it's like, boom, I'm out of here.
Kayla's mother, Evelyn Rodriguez, says students are being tormented by gang members.
I know she was having problems in school for the last 2 years. I've been going back and forth with the school district in regards to that she was being bullied, targeted. Everything that you can think of what these kids are going through nowadays at the high school, it's happening. MS-13
is one of the most dangerous and rapidly expanding criminal gangs in the world. They have at least 30,000 members from countries including El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Mexico.
There's no question that there are people who have come to this country illegally who were MS-13 in their native countries.
Since September 2016, the Suffolk County Police Department has arrested more than 125 MS-13 members.
They often threaten people. So if you're a young person, you don't speak English, you're here for the first time, you don't have a supportive social network, and a gang member says, hey, we can provide that for you, and by the way, if you don't, we'll kill you. That leaves very little choice for some folks.
But we all watched stunningly as a surge of children started coming across our border without unaccompanied.
The problem is you're seeing a large number of children placed in discrete communities, no notification to local governments, no additional funding.
This is not gang on gang. These are two athletes, students with great ambitions against bloodthirsty gang members with no future, who aren't even looking to do anything but wreak havoc in people's lives. Right. How do you deal with that? With a lot of patience, a lot.
They took the best thing that we had, and I'm not going to let her name go in vain. I will fight for her to the end, for her victory.
What's victory? Getting MS-13 out of this town?
Try to keep Brentwood safe. Try to keep our children safe.
So what they do is, most of these MS-13 gang members from another country, they don't belong here. When you show up in a school district at a school, they have to take you in and sign you in, even though you don't belong here. So they go into class, they don't even speak English. So they're sucking the resources out of the school, and then they go in and start threatening people and said, if you don't join this gang, we know where you live, or we know where your family is in El Salvador. We'll get them that way. And what they do is, too, they're not looking just to kill you. They're looking to kill you with hatchets and axes and knives.
These two girls, they died in a very brutal way.
Right. They couldn't have been more brutalized. They were just walking back from basketball practice. They get killed on the street. One tomorrow we're going to learn out more about them. But here's the key. is that this is a working class area known for their work ethic. They need help to get these other people out.
They say that Abrego Garcia has been charged with a crime or is part of MS-13. That is a lie.
In 2019, Garcia, who was in the country illegally, was arrested by Prince George's County Police. In these court documents released by U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi, officers noticed that the Chicago Bulls hat Garcia was wearing during the arrest represents that he was, quote, in good standing with MS-13. They also mentioned that a reliable source said Garcia was an active member of the gang. In a statement to Fox 5 DC, she says, quote, I acted out of caution after a disagreement with Kilmar by seeking a civil protective order in case things escalated. Things did not escalate, and I decided not to follow through with the civil court process.
A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit?
But the senator says,
I won't stop trying. I may be the first United States senator to visit El Salvador on this issue, but there will be more, and there will be more members of Congress coming.
Have to ask it. You did take out a temporary order of protection against your husband in 2021. Were you in fear of your husband?
My husband is alive. That's all I can say.
Okay, and you know, I'm not going to push on that apparently. But how much hope?
Photos have emerged of Senator Van Hollen sipping what appears to be margaritas with Abrego Garcia down in El Salvador. Do you encourage other Democrats to fly down to El Salvador to meet with this illegal alien who's been accused of
I like this guy. See, now this is the kind of a reporter we like. There aren't enough of them. We got to get some more of them. But no, I appreciate that question. No, look, he's a fake. I know him. I know them all. They're all fake. And they have no interest in that prisoner. That prisoner's record is unbelievably bad. If you would go into the room, you might, if you would, Caroline, maybe go into the room and see if you can find that little slip. I wrote some things down. I don't know why you'd want to keep him, but I just, we got a little biography of him. Not a very innocent guy. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, in the spirit of Easter Sunday.
While we're on the subject, right? So you're talking about Abrego Garcia, is that the one? Yeah. Is an illegal alien, MS-13 gang member and foreign terrorist. This comes out of the State Department and very legitimate sources. I mean, I assume, I'm just giving you what they handed to me, but this was supposed to be certified stuff. In 2019, Garcia was issued a deportation order. 2 separate judges affirmed Garcia was a member of MS-13, which is a gang that may be even worse than Tren de Aragua, and maybe worse. They kill people with knives because it's more painful. Very famous for the knifing and killing of 2 young 16-year-old girls walking to school one day, and they sliced them up into little pieces and killed them. That's MS-13. And 2 separate judges affirmed Garcia was a member of MS-13. When Garcia was originally arrested, he was wearing a sweatshirt with rolls of money pouring out, an MS-13 gang symbol that he was driving with 2 other known violent MS-13 gang members, 2 of the most violent members that we know of in the MS-13 gang of thugs.
In 2022, Garcia was stopped by the Tennessee Highway Patrol and was found to be transporting 7 people from Texas to Maryland, and he had no driver's license. He was driving violently. In 2020 and 2021, Garcia's wife filed for a protective order from him and said he was violent and abusive and really scary, including allegations that he punched and scratched her on the eye, left her bleeding after throwing her laptop on the floor at her, ripped her shirt, and ripped off her shorts. He then grabbed her arm, leaving very severe marks. Garcia's wife also wrote in court, "At this point, I am afraid to be close to him. I just don't want to be close. I have multiple photos and videos how violent he can be and all of the bruises that he's left on me." She just couldn't get anywhere near him. This is the man that the Democrats are wanting us to fly back from El Salvador to be a happily ensconced member of the USA family. Isn't it a shame? And by the way, I've been hit pretty hard by fake shows, fake news, MSDNC in particular, where they talk about how evil I am, that this man would be thrown out of our country. This man is according to certified statements that we get, is a very violent person. And they want this man to be brought back into our country where he can be free and to stay as a happily Maryland, they call him the Maryland man. He's a Maryland father. No, this is a violent person. Who they don't talk about is that wonderful angel mom who lost her daughter, who had 5 beautiful children, and she was killed violently. And, she spoke, and she spoke unbelievably. I saw it. And the fake news didn't pick it up. She spoke. She was in tears. She's devastated. Her life is, essentially, she's told me her life is like over. But there was I think no stories. Isn't that true? No stories. 0 stories. It was the most emotional thing. Everybody that watched it, they couldn't believe it. The fake news refused to put it up. So it's very sad. And yet they talk about this guy like he's an angel. See the angel up there? They think he's like that, like a little angel.
I want to preserve life. And that's the only reason why I have taken and spoken about Rachel all this time. If you're a mother here in the room, can you imagine standing there alive? You're alive, and someone comes and puts their hands into your chest and rips out your heart. That's what it feels like. It feels like a part of you is being ripped out of you. You can't even describe the pain. Just like you can't describe to your husband what it feels like to carry a baby in your womb, or to feel those first kicks, or to know just intuitively if it's a boy or a girl. It's only a thing that a mother knows. Why are we not protecting the American citizens? It's just common sense. Why are we not protecting our children? And to have a senator from Maryland who didn't even acknowledge or barely acknowledged my daughter and the brutal death that she endured, leaving her 5 children without a mother and now a grandbaby without a grandmother, so that he can use my taxpayer money to fly to El Salvador to bring back someone that's not even an American citizen. Why does that person have more right than I do, or my daughter, or my grandchildren?
Have to ask it. You did take out a temporary order of protection against your husband in 2021. Were you in fear of your husband?
My husband is alive. That's all I can say.
Okay, and I'm not going to push on that.